Wera hera hodien behujo hojo na sha hoi ho hey wera ya ho hey re hojo hodien behujo hojo na sha hoi ho hey So that song that I was singing is about when I said way ya ho way ho jo. It's saying and being in touch with the beauty, balance, harmony, peacefulness, contentment within yourself, and so you're asking for that energy to come and be here, and then it's way ho di yin. So it's di yin is the great spirit, and di yin be hojo, and with the great spirit is beauty, and then beauty, balance, harmony, and then be hojo na sha is I'm walking in beauty. It's always the elders always talk about that. You know, when you sing that, say those verses and having it come into beauty, bringing that reality, having it be here in beauty. So that's what that song is about. So it's kind of like it could be like your prayer song or a song where you want the good feelings to be. You know? So, but that's what I was hoping for. Thanks for letting me use your drum. So I'm going to introduce myself. Some of you who don't know me, I am Yad Eshe Bitahnii Shnero to here Dine'h Toriji Dashiro Sina Jini Dashinala. And late Isiada or Shiaho Shimasana Doshichi. Ada on da kind. Then lay Tahot so the I just Shindo. So I'm originally Folded Arms clan, born for the two waters that flow together clan. Bitter Waters, my maternal grandparent, and my paternal grandparent is Blackstreet on the Running Tree clan. I was raised in Pine Springs, and I was born in Fort Defiance, and so that's who I am and where I'm from on the Navajo Nation. And so I just explained that in my language. And on the other video that we had, I just wanted to share that part of, I was talking about trauma, but at that time I was going through the traumatic feelings that kind of like stemmed to my past, which was part of that, how do you call it, historical and past trauma that affected generation of my family through the generation. And so now, all the way up to my son and my daughter that passed away, to deal with that, the traumatic feeling, and then to find how to cope with it, and also using indigenous ways of healing methods. They're just methods of ways of how to use it to find some type of sense of peace and harmony. Well, the method I chose was a spirit stick that I used, was suggested by an elder from the Sundance, and so he showed me how to put it together, and so that's what I did. I put it together. It was a Y stick that was a little above your waist high, and tying the different colors: red, yellow, black, white, blue, green, pink or purple, depending on colors that they really liked. So I put that together with the tobacco tie, and then also was given an eagle feather to put it to tie on there. So I carried that around with me everywhere I went when I left from that place. Um, and that place that I was at High Falls, Connecticut, and so I had gone on the journey carrying that stick for a while. I mean, it was kind of awkward, but I don't think really a lot of people knew because I was walking through New York. I went through Grand Central Station, and
How did you end up on the East Coast?
well, I ended up on the East Coast, so I got on the train. So I took the train to Amtrak, and then they're the ones that helped me get my ticket and to go on that to High Falls
From the West?
from Gallup, yeah.
Okay.
Getting on the train at Gallup, Albuquerque, and then through Colorado, through Kansas, and all the way to Chicago. Interchange at Chicago, and then came this way.
So you came all the way across the country, and you found a very, very helpful method amongst lots of methods, but one that really worked for you.
Yeah, I that method as a Dine'h, a Navajo, in the Navajo way, and through our way is you only have 4 days to grieve, and to me it just seemed like I was not just grieving for my kids. It seemed like I was also grieving for my mother. I was grieving for my grandmother. I was grieving because at that time when I was little, it seemed like all of a sudden they were around, and all of a sudden they're gone, and then it's like I tried talking, but no one wanted to talk about it. So it just seemed like just feeling that it wasn't. I hadn't properly grieved. So the strange thing about this whole thing was that I had given my two older children their grandparents' name, my grandparents' name actually. So it was Nesba and Husky, and my grandparents' name is the Nesba Burnside, and then my grandfather's name was Husky Burnside. And so, like I said, when they passed away, it just seemed like it was not really proper grieving. So, but then all of a sudden, when I gave them this name, their names of their great grandparents, they had passed away again. So it's like it gave me that proper time to really do it right. Like there's this like a ceremony that I needed to do for myself. I mean, I could have gone. I mean, in a Navajo way, traditional way, they don't allow that. They don't allow that because they say the dead will harm you. It's a I guess that reality of danger, is of going past the threshold, meaning the death, going beyond death and then going into death as far as like, physically dying. So I kind of like that stick was the spirit stick helped me. I guess in a way it helped me let them go. It was a transition, like here's death's on one side and then life's on this side, and then it's like that in between state is that stick. It was right there, so it helped, and in a way it sent. I guess I'm also involved with the Baha'i faith. So in the Baha'i faith, there's a writings they talk about the Sadratul Muntaha. Sadratul Muntaha means the tree beyond where there is no passing. So that tree beyond it represents the threshold, and so it's just like this doorway is the same way. It's a threshold, you go through it. So that's kind of what that Y stick represented. So it kind of probably seemed crazy that I was walking around with a stick, but it at the same time it was helping me understand this whole process of grieving, letting go, and accepting it all in one. So as I was carrying these sticks, I didn't realize that I had my other son who's alive, take care of, like he had his own ceremony done for him traditional wise, and he was ready to let his brother's spirit stick go, so he gave it back to me. So with having my daughter's spirit stick and my son's spirit stick, having them together, and then going across the Brooklyn Bridge together was like a big thing because they were talking about that, that they wish they were wanting to cross the Brooklyn Bridge together. You know, what would it be like to do that? So you know, in reality, I heard them talking about it in when they were alive, but then they never made it. So I feel fulfilled that for them, just to carry those two sticks across, you know, the Brooklyn Bridge. The first time when they first passed away, Husky passed away first in 2018. So it was like I carried his spirit stick by himself. Then the next year, 2019 or 2021, the 4 years later or 3 years later, and then my daughter passed away, so I carried hers. And then this year, I carried both of them. So, but when I carried both of them, it seemed that there was more people that were following and going along with it. You know, not just for them, but also for all the ones that passed away.
So, as somebody who's been listening to your extremely powerful and inspiring journey, it seems like number one is that you had to go beyond what the native Navajo, native Dine'h tradition had said to you, and you had to listen to your own spirit guidance that said, nope, I gotta take a little bit longer here than 4 days. And then the other thing that I noticed, which I would like to ask you a little bit about, is you seem, much fresher and much clearer and cleaner than the last time we saw each other a few months ago. And I know you've been, on a big, big, beautiful journey here. And I think that if you could touch in on those things a little bit, that would make a nice conclusion for now, and then we can do more a little bit later.
Yeah. So, I guess the main part of the fulfillment was to take that time to be able to really think about all these things. But the weirdest thing is the weirdest thing about all of that is the universe was responding. What I mean by that is the universe was responding by, I started hearing the music that my kids were, that they used to listen to, coming on not just on the radio, but on the actual, the Spotify. I mean, the list, the way that these songs were falling into place, I was like, oh my God, I was like, my children, I was like, I remember that's what they were listening to, and that, it's like, wow, man, it's like, they know, they sense it, So I was feeling the message from the other side that, everything is okay. So that's the confirmation I got from the universe. So it was really powerful, and so I was like, wow, Nesba's here, and so we'd see like a butterfly go by, or we'd see a dragonfly, just the signs, So it told me that things were good, I didn't have to worry that, and in some sense I felt like the new Nesba and the new Husky came, but then the old Nesba and the old Husky came at the same time, just to tell me that, just to watch, to see another side of who I was, and then they left again. So it's like now, after they left, it's like I have to fulfill this other part until it's time that I'll see them somewhere else. Mm-hmm. So it's it's kind of like they came and then they left, but then it's like I'm here to come back to return to see them again. So I'll see them, and because there's other, like my other relatives. There's some of them that played a key role. I have a uncle who was a Navajo code talker. He played a lot, too, big influence, and I know that he's with me all the time because I see him sometimes. There's a photo that I have on my Facebook page. It's a profile photo. I'm wearing my outfit, my dance outfit, but then if you look behind and back, you can see him standing behind you. So that's kind of what I mean by this, So it's, in a way, it's like I finally, after I did all this walk and fulfilled all this for them, in a way I was like, it was helping me kind of bring a closure, a closure from um, the past, and also the relationship that I had, and then moving forward, and it's kind of like just letting it be, and knowing that it's in a better, they're in a better place, and everything's done past. So now I gotta just keep moving forward. For a while, it seemed like I was stuck. I was always stuck because um, the way I was taught through um, the boarding school, through um, modern education, kind of got me stuck. And so, but learning these medicine ways and indigenous ceremony and the chant, it's like bringing them together and then moving forward. And so it's like it helped enhance my spirituality more, and kind of a renewal, part of letting some of these things go. I had to let some um, to it's like giving something away, giving a reciprocity. You give something and then something good comes back. So it's always been that way. So that's what my grandfather taught me, is the reciprocity. How to you have to give something to get something back, and so that's part of the service.
Well, I can say it's really, really an honor to listen to this part of your story. There's so much more, and it's funny, but you're a walking, talking, eclectic Native man, and you're listening to your wild soul. And for me, that is what matters, that each person really listens to what the Spirit is saying to them, and you're really listening, even though it's super hard sometimes. So thanks a lot. Any last thing you want to share for now?
Yeah, that's the thing, is bringing, like we were always talking about, bringing the healing feeling, back to ourselves, and to try to bring that peace, peace and harmony. Peace, harmony, beauty, balance, In one word, they say hojon, hojon. So hojon go nashado. So when I say that part of, when I say shitagi hojon go nashado, shikede hojon go nashado, shiket ate nahastan ya nahastan bakat, saying behold my feet, and then sitaja ya anaka means bringing that beauty below your feet and then above your head, and then all the way around.